Okay, so hello everybody. So this week I'm going to brief you in short about the session 15 to session 16. So in these sessions we focus about three main points. The first one is about the review of cry freedom. The second outcome is about the assignment 2 that I'm going to explain what you are doing with this assignment. And the last one is about the overview on our second story that the title is Right and Prejudice. Okay. So for the first outcome, this week you are going to have a midterm test. And the midterm test that we cover about the story that you have just completed of the cry freedom. And here are the main aspects that I have summarized for you for what are the main features that have been discussed through our story of the cry freedom. So the first one is about the educations of liberal. So let reminding you about the word liberal. Liberal refer to the person that consider about the equalities in the society. So education of liberal we refer to the way that how Steve Biko, who is the main character of the story, educated to Woods, who is a famous editor from the Daily Dispatch. So we can review that at the beginning of the friendship between Steve Biko, that we can call a black liberal, and Donald Woods, that is a white liberal. So what is different between the black liberal and the white liberal? So the word black wife, because during that time in South Africa, there are two people who are living in that country. So we have the black and the white. However, the system have divided the black and white too much different. The white, they live in a group in the town where is a comfortable city, where is a luxurious house, a good job, while the black people live in the black townships. That is, the communities consists of the violence, people try to survive and without any good job. So that's why we can imagine that two people that live in different communities, the way that they are thinking, they are different. So the first one is about the black liberal, like Steve Biko, that he has graduated from the university. He has no point to start work for the other. So what he is considered is about to build South Africa being a beautiful country. He has known that if he keep doing the job as the other does, so the result is last only him. But the main purpose of Steve Biko is mean that he want to build South Africa from all black people. So that's why Steve Biko became a leader of black consciousness, became one of the leaders of South Africa that lead the black movements. That is why Steve Biko is called the black liberal. And we go to Donald Woods. Donald Woods is white persons who live in the white community. So he is called a white liberal as well because Donald Woods has no any intentions that unequals, or we can say intention to support only the white. He is the one that who is the editor of Daily Dispatch. And moreover, he also produced a very critical topic and critical article for his newspaper as well. So he is called a white liberal because he is a white editor and who dare to post any problems that happen in South Africa. And as the result, we can see that their friendship are not coincidental to each other. Why? Because Wood have posted many stories about the black people, how the police raid the black communities. And one more thing, Woods also published about the news of an influential black leader that is called Steve Biko. That is the reason that Biko also target to meet Woods as well, because Woods is a strong editor of Daily Dispatch, and Woods is the target that Biko want to build the community, want to build the relationship together. So we can say that two people they start friendship between one is a black liberal and one is a white liberal. So how can Biko educate Wood about the black liberal and to understand about what exactly is? Imagine Wood is about 40 years old. It's over 40 years old, but he have never been to the black township any times. As the invitation from Biko, Wood went to visit black township for the first time in his life. So that's why Biko consider Wood as the first white liberal who went to stay with the black family in the black township. So if we talk about education, the way that Biko they had brought Wood to the black township, that is we call the outdoor activities, that he is teaching Wood the reality of what the people are living there is. It is not the paragraph that have been written in the book. It is not the article that have been edited many times. But what Biko is doing is mean that to give the authentic example and experience to Wood, how would he feel when he was living among the group of the black family. So this is the beginning that we can say that a practical education for Donald Wood, who try to find out the realities of the black people are. As the result, Wood have made a very tough decision with his newspaper board because he brought 2 black journalists, and this is the first time in the South Africa that a journalist of Daily Dispatch, they have brought the black journalists to cover the black news. Imagine that during that time, black people, they cannot work as any officer. They can be only the waiter, the waitress, and we can say that they are working with the low jobs. So that's why I think that the decision of Woods is a very tough decision, that he decided to use Tenji and Mandela to be the black journalists to cover the black news. However, as the result of his decisions, Daily Dispatch was getting the flood of gifts from people who read it, because the black journalists wrote their own story, and it is supported from both black and white. However, Daily Dispatch, especially its editor Donald Wood, is the target of police that pay, and police try to get much attention on what Daily Dispatch was doing. Talking about the revolutions. So after you have read the story so far, during that time there is not only Steve Biko who was aiming to change the South Africa. There are many black leaders, and among all the black leaders, they have different ways to lead to the revolutions. So as the example, we can see about the revolutions between the 2 leaders. One is Mozambique and one is Steve Biko, that they gave the speech at the football stadiums. So the implied of Mozambique's speech, we can say that he is leading the black people to fight back the system. It means that if something wrong to the black have to give something wrong to the white as well. However, after the speech of Mozambique have finished, Steve Biko is also stand up and give the speech to the crowd as well. However, the speech of the Steve Biko, we can say that the non-violent revolutions. Why? Because Steve Biko is call all black to work hard, call all black to work together, call all black to build the beautiful of the South Africa by the black people. And Steve Biko want black to show the truth, that to want the black people to show the truth to the white, that black can do as what the white is doing. So we can say that the speech of Steve Biko, that is called non-violent revolutions. And after the giving speech at the football stadium, Steve Biko were caught, and after that he was sending to the court of Pretoria. So the debate at the court of Pretoria, I think that it is a very interesting scenes or flaws in the story that we have read and this movie we have watched as well, because Biko was trapped into by the judges that he tried to lead Biko to be accused of a leader that brought the violence to the society. However, Biko responded very well as that he used the word terrorism, he used the word confrontations, and all the word terrorism, it is not refer to the black did anything wrong to the white people. It is show or it is reflects about the actions of the white police who beat the black people, the white police who give the wrong, or we can say that untrusted law to the black one. And the actions, or we can say the deeds of Biko, it is not called a violent revolution. It is called nonviolent revolution. As the example, we can easily to read that confrontation like now. Biko is confronting with the prosecutors. However, they are confronting, but the violence does not exist it in themselves. So, after the speech of Biko during that time, all newspaper over South Africa published still Biko words. Only Daily Dispatch, who gave all extracted word from Biko that did a debate at the court of Pretoria. And after that, we can remark on the death of Biko. So Biko went to Cape Town in order to give the speech to the student. And as you have known that Biko is an influent leader who can influence the movement, the student of the movement. So Biko, while he came back from the Cape Town, he was caught by the police, blocked the roads. He died on, we can say, we do not say he died, we say that he was killed on 12 September 1927. And according to the story, we can say that Biko should not have died on that day, because if he had sent to nearby hospital, but because of the strict policy from the police that Biko cannot be sent to the nearby hospital, he had to be sent to the police hospital that travel 1,000 miles away from there. So as the result, Biko was dead. And after the death of Biko, police called. And after the death of Biko, police have announced that Biko death, it is not the responsibility of the police, because Biko he starved himself to die. And only one person that who have found the truth by going to see the body of Biko, and would have found the truth of Biko tortures. And finally, Woods, after hearing the words of Crooker, who is the Minister of Police during that time, he would have decided to take the revenge for what the police have built or what the police have done to his friend Biko. However, Wood was caught at the security police at the airport that he aimed to fly away in order to publish about the reality of the South Africa. And after that, Woods was announced to be a banned person as Biko during that time at the security police. So what are the ban criteria of Wood? Wood are not allowed to go out from his house. He can meet only one person for a time, and he cannot write, cannot print anything. Okay, so we can say that it is a very strict ban that Biko have faced, and Wood understood about this when he met Biko for the first time. And now there is something bad happened to Woods. However, Woods and Biko version has not yet ended. So Woods had argument with Wendy on publishing article and book of Biko to the world. So during Woods that was banned at his house, he spent his time on writing article about Biko, because wife, he wrote it by using handwriting, and any document that he has been written was hide properly, because his house was backed by the police, and if he did something that again the ban criteria, the ban policy, he will be caught and will be sent to the court anytime. So in order to continue the visions of Biko, Woods decided to publish his article. However, he himself can travel alone, but Wendy, who's his wife and his children. So it is the securities that you have to make a very tough decisions that you continue what your work is, and how about the security of your family. Finally, because the police have threatened to the Wood family, Wendy agreed with Wood that they have to leave South Africa, and Woods and his family could escape from South Africa successfully because that they got help from Bruce, from Father Gami, from the people of South Africa that we have Tammy, Moses, and the governments of Lesotho. So we can say that Wood has flown out from the South Africa, and that's why we got a beautiful story of cry freedom that we have to study. So what I have mentioned so far, that is the important part of the story of cry freedom. So everybody, please reflect what are the morals that you have learned after you have read the cry freedom, and you have done many discussion questions already about the cry freedom. So now I go to the second part of our lecture today, that we discuss about the assignment 2. So the purpose of doing the assignment 2, want you to find out the supporting example from the story to support the literature elements. So what are the literature elements? Literature elements are the components of a story, or components that you learn about a literature. You have to find out what are the components of the story that you have read or you have watched. The component or the elements of the literature we have like character, plot, conflict, setting, irony. So these are the components of literature. However, the literature elements in your assignment I have set already in the assignment guideline. So what you should do, you just follow the assignment guideline. And after that, you have to analyze the main components that also used in the story. So by doing this assignment, you can improve your PowerPoint presentations. Anyway, you know how to insert your voice in your slide presentations. So let me remind you that your assignment is divided into 2. The first one, assignment 1. Assignment 1 is the total of the chapter assignments that you have done from weekly. So as you already have done it 1 week, you have 1 chapter assignment. So all assignment in 15 weeks, it will be calculated together, and you will get 50% from the assignment 1. And this assignment 2, you have only 1 assignment, and you have 10% to get it. However, you have to choose a story that the story or novel is begin from the level 5 or 6 up. And after that, student, you have to do the PowerPoint slide, and you have to put your presentation voice in your PowerPoint. So please, you can choose your own story, but any story that you have learned in literature 1 to literature 5, all that story you cannot choose. So please find a new story. And after that, you put your story into slide presentation, you record your voice, and you put it on the slide yourself. But don't forget to respect your due dates. And the due dates, it has already clarified in our online classroom. But you have to notify that if you have found plagiarism, your score will be marked as 0. And the student who have submit or name the story earlier, you have right to do it first. And for the late submissions in 1 day due to the due dates, you will be reminded 5 points from your assignment. So what should you put in your slide? So you have to design the cover of your PowerPoint presentation by using the university logo, course title, story title, the author, presenter, semester, and academic year. After that, you have to put your presentation outcome. Presentation outcome, it refers to after you complete your presentations, what the audience they will get from your presentation. So this is your presentation outcome. And the story analysis, you have to complete it into 5 main points. The first one is the reason. So you have to tell why do you choose that story to do the story analysis for your assignments. And after that, you have to summarize about the background of the author, including the achievement of his or her job. And number 3, about the story. So about the story, the first point, you have to summarize plot. As you already know, plot it refers to the main points in the story. So plot, it consists of exposition, rising actions, climax, falling actions, and resolutions. After that, you have to analyze on the characters. That character, we divide it into 2 main characters. One it is called protagonist, and one it is called antagonist. Protagonist is the main character in the story, and the person that fight against the protagonist we call antagonist. So in here, we require you to do 4 character analysis. So the 4 character analysis, we have 2 for protagonist and 2 for antagonist. And the way that you analyze about the character, you have to tell what is she or what is he like, describe about his appearance, describe about the personal traits, and also describe about the role in the story as well. And number 3, it is number 5, sorry. And you have to extract the expression that you want to teach or the listener to understand about the clear expression that you get it from the story. Like number 1, example only, that this is the expression I got from the story that we have learned about the quiet freedom. So in the quiet freedom, the expression that we got is that where there is oppression and there is rebellion. You just mention about that sentence and you can express it in your own voice. So in the expression, you have to mention at least 3, and after that you have to select 3 moral that you get from the story, and each moral you have to explain clearly. So all these parts are the key parts that you have to explain in assignmentation 2. Okay, so the last point of our chapter of our presentation this week, we got overview about the pride and prejudice. So what is pride? How you feel when you look handsome, how you feel when you look beautiful. So pride here is mean refer to the appearance, attractiveness of your appearance, that when you look handsome, you look beautiful, people are bright with themselves. Prejudice refer to the first judge. When you see something for the first time, you judge about that thing. That is we call the prejudice. So this is the introductions of the overview of pride and prejudice. You can say that the moment I first met you, I noticed your pride, your sense of superiority, and your selfish disdain for the feelings of others. You are the last man in the world whom I could ever be persuaded to marry, said Elizabeth Bennet. And so Elizabeth rejected the brood of Mr. Darcy. Can nothing overcome her prejudice against him? And what of the other bandit girls, their fortune, their misfortune in the business of getting husbands? So we can say that this is the main theme of the story, that we have 2 main characters. One is Mr. Darcy and one is Elizabeth, who when they first met for the first time, they judge each other that you are very proud of yourself, and how their love is continue until at the end of the story they get married together. So I think it works a lot for those who like reading or watching the romantic movie. However, the points of the story also show about the right and wrong of your business of getting husband as well. We can say that we compare about the advantage and disadvantage of arranged marriage, love marriage, and about that being judged on the status and the income. So these are what we are going to discuss in the story of Brian Prejudice. Okay, finally, it's about your midterm guideline that you have 1 hour for your midterm this week. So please remember that your midterm test is the time constraint test. When you talk about the time constraint test, it means that you have to pay much attention on the limited time, and you have to include the technical challenge. You have only 90 minutes for your test, and it is on Monday 4th 2020. Okay. And the test divided into 4 sections: multiple choices 30%, short questions, that is you just answer the question what is being asked about, you get 40%, and comprehension questions that need your critical analysis on the provided questions. So there are 3 tips for you. Please book yourself with convenient time and place, and it is a time constraint. You have to care about yourself first before you have your friends. And finally, in your writing comprehension, your writing must not be the same or look alike, because it is the written test. So during the written test, I understand that we can say the same word, but you cannot write something in the same way as 2 person does. So any found cheated for the comprehension check, you will equal 0. Okay, so that's all for this week, and enjoy your midterm.